Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today is the 22nd of December, 2020. Alright, into some big news today, I guess. Not really Ethereum related news, but more crypto related. So this kind of report came out and was circling through the media that Ripple has said that they are going to be sued by the SEC, so the Securities and Exchange Commission in the US. Now, there's been a long debate, over XRP, the asset that kind of powers, I guess, the Ripple ecosystem, whether it's a security or not, based on how it was issued. There's been a lot of back and forth about this for many years now. I mean, XRP has been around for quite a while now. It has been, under like intense scrutiny from a lot of people over the years, and I think rightfully so. I am not a fan of a lot of the things that the Ripple company does when kind of advertising and marketing XRP. I don't really think it serves a purpose in general. I just don't see the kind of use case and what it does. But this isn't, time to bash on XRP. I just thought it was interesting that the SEC has finally made a move here. Now, I mean, I saw this and I thought to myself, is anything going to come of this? Because, you'll probably remember that there's been other high-profile cases that the SEC kind of has been involved in. They've gone after EOS, right, for raising billions of dollars and saying that their kind of token was a securities offering, but they kind of slapped them on the wrist with a $24 million fine. And then they were basically got off, after that, right? They didn't have to admit guilt. They just had to pay this fine, and that was it. They didn't have to pay back anyone that invested or whatever. So, they allegedly raised $4 billion, got fined $24 million, and on their merry way. So, because of that, I don't really have much faith in this going places. I mean, I saw some of the lawyers opining on this on Twitter, saying this is a bit different to the EOS case. It seems the SEC has more teeth here. They're basically directly suing Ripple rather than trying to kind of settle out of court. So, I mean, this could become more than what the EOS kind of debacle was. We'll have to see. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, was on Twitter basically defending the kind of attack, he calls it, on crypto from the SEC. And I don't think it's an attack on crypto at all. I think they're rightfully investigating Ripple and the XRP connection there. And then there was also an excerpt from one of the things that Ripple published that basically went on to bash Ethereum and Bitcoin and said they were, centralized in China via mining and things like that. So all round, just a bit of drama today with this, but don't want to harp on it too long. But I think it's definitely one of the most interesting developments we've seen within crypto in quite a while, given the prominence of XRP. I mean, everyone knows about it. It's the number three crypto by market cap. And it's, as I said, it's been around for a long time and under scrutiny for a long time. So I'll keep an eye on this and keep you guys updated. So there was an update from Hugh Karp, the founder of Nexus Mutual, today about what happened with the hack. I guess it was last week or the week before. How the XNM kind of got stolen from him through a kind of man-in-the-middle attack, where they basically, the attackers spoofed the MetaMask transaction and made him believe that. He thought he was sending or doing an interaction that was different to what actually executed. So what ended up happening is a transaction executed that sent 370,000 XNM to a hacker. And he goes on to say here that instead of what thought he was doing, which was claiming some mining rewards. He goes into basically the storyline here of what happened. Then he goes down here and gives like a summary of findings, I guess, for kind of their investigation so far. Basically, what ended up happening was that a malicious kind of MetaMask configuration was installed onto his PC, and basically the attack appears to be highly targeted towards Hugh. They kind of knew who they were going after, the attackers, knew what they wanted to do, knew how to get this kind of thing out of Hugh. And he basically kind of says here what they don't know is like how the machine was compromised in the first place, who the attackers are, or the hackers are, of course, and some learnings here. So I was discussing this with some friends today, and I'm still of the opinion that 99% of people don't have to worry about these sorts of things as kind of like an active thing to worry about. This was obviously a targeted attack towards Hugh because they knew how much kind of crypto he had. They knew where it was. they knew they kind of formulated a way to get it off him, and they kind of like planned this out. So this was a sophisticated targeted attack at a known kind of entity, right? Whereas, you or me, basically, we kind of like obviously have our crypto and everything like that stored in various different ways. And, I guess I could be considered like a public figure, whereas I'm sure a lot of you are anonymous or not very kind of like out there with your crypto holdings. It's very hard to target people like that. I think that the people that need to worry about this are definitely the more high profile people that are in crypto, especially within the Ethereum ecosystem and things like that. I mean, this is what I was talking about yesterday about the Ledger kind of leak as well. I mean, it might be an unpopular opinion to say it, but I think it's just, if you really take a step back and kind of look at it from a kind of logical standpoint, you can kind of, get the feel that you're probably not going to get targeted in this, right? Unless you're like a high profile person or someone has a bone to pick with you, basically. So yeah. But in general, I think, in the Daily Gwei newsletter yesterday, I wrote about this. There's a few things you can do to improve your security hygiene. You obviously always want to be as secure as you can be. There are attacks that are done through phishing emails, and they're basically like casting a wide net and trying to, catch as many people as they can. It's not specifically targeted, but the Ledger kind of leak had a lot of email addresses in it. So if you were on there, you've probably gotten, and your phone number as well, you've probably gotten phishing SMS, you've probably gotten phishing emails and things like that. And that's just opportunistic, right? These kind of attackers think, we'll just send all this out and let's get some fish to bite, for lack of a better term here, and see where we end up. Whereas what happened to you was a completely targeted attack. They knew exactly what they were going for. They didn't take any kind of chances, it seems, and they used some very sophisticated methods to obtain this crypto. So yeah, I suggest reading this post. It'll be linked in the show notes if you want to learn more about this. But in general, yeah, even if you're a low profile person, no one really knows you hold crypto, you're not active on social media or anything like that, I still think, you can still lose your crypto through these kind of general phishing attacks where they kind of just try and target everyone. So always good to be alert around that. And of course, getting your crypto stolen from your own kind of address or your own MetaMask wallet or something like that is probably less of a risk than getting it kind of stolen out of a DeFi protocol, right? Or a smart contract. So I think making sure that you're not putting your assets into, unaudited or unsecure smart contracts, without kind of coming to terms with the fact that you could lose it all is probably the better bet here, and probably the way most people will lose their money. And the most common way people, I think, was going to lose their money is active trading too, right? Things that you do yourself. So yeah, just a bit of like I guess a bit of a different take there because I see people kind of being frantic about this and how can I trust anything now? And in general, it's good to always be on top of things and make sure that your own setup of securing your crypto is good. But I don't think you have to worry about these super targeted, sophisticated attacks against you unless you're a high profile person, basically. All right, a bit of sobering news from Hudson Jameson today. So for those who don't know, Hudson has been in Ethereum for quite a while now. He's been extremely involved with the Ethereum core developers. He's been running, facilitating the bi-weekly Ethereum core developer meetings, aka the all core devs calls, for 4 years now. And he announced today that he's decided to step down from that role. And Tim Byko, who has been doing a lot of great work around EIP 1559, I've spoken about him before, he's going to be replacing Hudson in this role after the next Ethereum hard fork called Berlin, which should be Q1 in 2021. I can't think of a better person to replace Hudson here, or to not replace, but take the kind of baton from Hudson to continue this kind of work that Hudson's been doing. Tim has obviously proven himself over the last few months and couple of years, I think, and everyone that I spoke to is really happy about this kind of change over here. And as for Hudson, he leaves behind an amazing legacy, right? He's been after over 4 years of basically facilitating the most important kind of call in Ethereum, the all core devs call, I would argue. And he's done a lot more than that. He's been very active within the Ethereum community in general. He's been a very great community leader. I always like seeing his takes because he tends to try and leave his bias at bay, and he tends to really give some great takes on Twitter and things like that. So yeah, really great to see that. And he basically announced here that he's kind of like stepping down because he wants to try new things inside and outside of the Ethereum Foundation, such as contributing to Zcash and some internal Ethereum Foundation initiatives. So yeah, I guess like it's just a change of pace, right? Like if you've been doing this for so long and you get to a point where you're like, I think it's time for me to pass the baton on. I've been doing this through multiple kind of market cycles. Ethereum's evolved so much over the years. You need whether it's you need a break or you need to change your pace. I mean, I totally get it, right? I think that's totally fine. And as I said, he's passing the kind of baton on to Tim Biko, who I have full faith in, and I think the rest of the community does as well. So really, really great to see that. And you can see Tim's kind of thread here about kind of what he's going to be doing when he fills Hudson's shoes. He says he's got the ETH1 roadmap to obviously focus on with 1559, the account abstraction, EIP, stateless clients, BLS support, and the ETH2 merge. So these are some big things coming up, right, over the next year and a half, maybe 2 years for ETH1, along with the merge. So he's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and I think he's gonna handle it really well. So congrats to Tim there, and thank you to Hudson for all your tireless work over the years. All right, interesting addition here to MakerDAO today. So I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, how there was a vote to add Uniswap protocols liquidity provider tokens to MakerDAO as a collateral option. Now that has happened for the first pair, which is the DAI ETH pair, which makes sense, I guess. I think this might be the first addition of like a DAI collateral to MakerDAO. So basically, I mean, it's not pure DAI, right? It's 50% DAI, 50% ETH, but basically you can get this Uniswap LP token by putting your DAI and ETH into Uniswap, obviously, and then going and putting this into Maker and drawing DAI against it. So the parameters are a 1% stability fee, which basically means you're paying 1% on the debt that you borrow, and 125% collateralization ratio, which I think is the lowest collateralization ratio on Maker right now. I don't know if ETH has been lowered. ETH was 150%, like pure ETH. But I think this is the lowest, unless I'm missing something, which is what caught my eye, was that it was lower than pure ETH, which I guess, I mean, makes sense because there's DAI in there, maybe. It theoretically should be less volatile, right? Because it's selling ETH for DAI on the way up and buying ETH on the way down, and kind of selling DAI for ETH on the way down, sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, this is the first of many, I think. We're going to see a lot of these pairs go in there, not just Uniswap. I expect to see SushiSwap pairs. I expect to see other kind of tokens and things like that to go in there. So yeah, really great to see this from MakerDAO. Speaking of Uniswap, Hayden Adams put out a really great thread today about meta governance. So this is something that's been heating up within DeFi lately. And basically, I think I've spoken about it before, but for those who are just tuning in, meta governance is this kind of concept of protocols kind of governing other protocols. So for example, at the Index Co-op, we have the DeFi Pulse Index under the Index Co-op's management, and inside the DeFi Pulse Index is a bunch of tokens. Now, some of these tokens give you governance rights over their platform, and such as Comp and Uni. So what ends up happening is that Index token holders can vote on Compound and Uniswap proposals, and then that kind of goes through. So they're basically meta-governing these protocols through the Index Co-op. So the Index Co-op itself is governing Compound and Uniswap. So, I mean, that's just awesome. And Hayden breaks it down here and basically says that in the DeFi Pulse Index, there is 2.5 million Uni. So basically, that's a big amount of the vote there. I think that's kind of 25% of the kind of minimum Uni you need to reach the quorum on the vote. So it's kind of a significant amount here. So I think, as time goes on, not just with Index Co-op, but a bunch of other kind of experiments that are being run for meta governance, I think this is going to be a really kind of strong narrative moving into 2021. I think this is going to be very valuable. I think protocols maybe without meta governance, their tokens might be worth less, actually, because you can think about it. Any protocol can govern any other protocol as long as there's the functionality built in. So, for example, the Uniswap DAO can actually buy Index Co-op tokens, right? And the Uni token holders would vote on that, and then they could govern the Index Co-op. So then you have meta governance, where the Uniswap DAO who holds Index tokens can actually vote with those Index tokens on Uniswap proposals. So you see how it's like an inception of like governance governance, basically. So that's really exciting. And that's actually something that I'm really paying attention to going forward. I think governance is an ever evolving thing, and this is going to be a core part of that going forward for sure. Right, the new synthetic staking dApp was released today. So for those of you who have been in the synthetics ecosystem for a while, you hold SNX, you would be familiar with this interface where it basically allows you to stake your SNX and mint synths like SUSD and SETH and things like that. And this was basically the interface that people went to in order to get rewards on their SNX, right? So the synthetics kind of DAOs are paying out rewards over time in SNX for locking your SNX up and minting SUSD. There's also other things on here. You can see in the GIFs here, they have a bunch of different sections and things like that. Even if I just go to the website here, I can show you what it looks like. It fits in with their new branding that they kind of created. But yeah, you can go to like the staking interface here, stake your kind of SNX and mint like SUSD. You can go to the new earn section here. Now, I'm not going to connect my wallet, but when you connect it, it actually comes up with a bunch of the pools that they're incentivizing, like the Curve SUSD pool. You can earn extra SNX. You can kind of like check out the synths in here, and then obviously your history and how much you've got escrowed. And if you connect your wallet, all of this will come up, but I don't want to dox my wallet, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, really great interface from kind of synthetics here. Fits really nicely in with their new brand. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how this evolves and what other features they add here. So yeah, nice job, Synthetics team. Interesting announcement that kind of flew under the radar today from Dexable. So Dexable is what they describe it as a DEX tool that enables private, non-custodial, flexible DeFi automation and the first stop loss orders for retail DeFi. So, in plain English, what this basically allows you to do is, the use cases are here, allows you to trade in illiquid or small mid-cap assets. It lets you set trigger prices to sell in batches on quote-unquote moon runs. It minimizes slippage and front running. It pulls profit from mining and staking rewards automatically. You can schedule trades, for gas reasons, and you can set price triggers for orders as well. So this basically, I guess, like automates your DEX trading, right? So instead of you having to build your own bot for this is what Dexable is claiming to be able to do here. So yeah, I suggest going to check this out. It'll be in the show notes. They've got a few screenshots here of how it works and everything, but obviously screenshots aren't going to show you the full picture. You definitely want to see it all playing out and things like that, and want to play around with it yourself. So pause that. So yeah, definitely go check this out in the show notes. I think this is really cool and something that flew under the radar today. All right, lastly, just a quick shout out here. I was on the Bankless Podcast with Eric Connor and DC Investor, as well as hosts Ryan Sean Adams and David Hoffman. We basically spent 2 hours giving the bull case for Ethereum and for Ether. It was incredibly fun to be on this and talking with these guys. These guys are pretty much at the forefront of Ethereum and ETH and like why ETH is valuable, and all this sort of stuff. At kind of like by the end of the episode, I was like, man, I don't own enough ETH. I need to buy more. That's how kind of like bullish the episode was. But it wasn't just about ETH. It was about like how Ethereum's going to evolve, how the apps are going to evolve, how we're going to bring in new users. So much was covered here. I will link this in the YouTube description. You can go check this out for sure. I highly recommend listening to it. Obviously, I'm biased here, but I had a lot of fun on this, so I definitely think you will too by listening to it. All right, that's it for today, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Daily Gwei newsletter. Join the Discord, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.